I'm not too worried about these guys killing me. There's gonna be some easy maps. This is just a good way to get ore. Plus, I really don't know what else to do. Like, I don't want to keep exploring every single day. This is exactly what I mean about the monastery just becoming, like, very dry, and I really feel like they could have cut it. They could have had some chapters not even include the monastery. I love the monastery. I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. I love the monastery. But they could have just had it where, some, like, maybe 2 or 3 chapters in this time, you didn't do any monastery stuff, because it just gets very repetitive. Like, as I said, I love doing the monastery stuff part 1, but part 2 it just becomes like pointless. There's some stuff I like doing, like fishing could be fun sometimes, but there are times when I just like don't want to bother with the monastery, and part 2 is the reason for that. Part 1 I think the monastery is fine though, and I don't mind it, but I feel like part 2 could have went down a linear route, or just add more things to do that are worth your time. Like, if they added more monastery activities, that'd be cool. Like, more requests. They don't even have much request anymore, which kind of blows. So, like, I think if they added more, I think if they added more stuff for the monastery for part 2 only, that would have been nice. Because it just feels pointless in part 2 to even do the monastery IMO. Yeah, it's just my opinion of the game. It doesn't mean I hate part 2. It doesn't mean I do not like the monastery part 2. It's fine, but I definitely prefer it in part 1. Part 1 it does a much better job at being interesting. Like, they could have added something in part 2 to make it a little more interesting, or just a little different.
You took me lightly. I'll make up for the setback. More fighting. It's win or die.
Win or die. Those are your only 2 options in this game, apparently.
Shall we? Too close.
Yeah, nothing changes my opinion of the game. Even though I say the monastery isn't as fun in part 2, it's just like, the only thing to look forward to in the monastery part 2 is obviously support conversations. And that's like it, honestly. There's nothing else. It just feels so like, just the current status of the monastery in a plot relevance is just like, it's just kind of pointless. Because the monastery is like, basically deserted. I think it's really neat how you could just talk to the party members and see what's going on in the story and like how they're feeling about the current situation and the scenarios. Like, even then, oh my goodness, could someone just not die for once? But yeah, if they added something to make it more fresh in part 2, I would have been fine with it being there. But keeping it exactly the same and it just feeling more of an afterthought.
Steady now.
I mean, it wasn't an afterthought. I mean, in part 2, like an afterthought as in they didn't change it. Different story. But like, the fact that it's just the same as part 1, just kind of pointless. Like, you guys see, all I do is, you guys saw, like, me watching my playthrough. All I end up doing is getting motivation up.
Put me in there.
I just do faculty training, so, because there's, like, nothing else to do. And I guess you can argue the fact, if you like battling, I like battling in this game. The gameplay is good in this game. I don't want anyone to get that twisted, but if you like battling, then you're fine, because you could just battle during all the monastery free days, except for the first one. I always do the first one because it's the plot, and talking to everyone is nice. At least I like to have at least one explore day in this game when I play it, no matter what month I'm in, especially part 2. But you can just battle for every single free day if you choose. So I do like the option. I also do think that rest and seminar are pretty pointless. both of them. I do seminar sometimes, but I feel like it's a really pointless option. There's like no point in doing it, IMO. I don't see any purpose in seminar.
At your own risk.
I don't know what's going on with my Joy-Cons. I feel like I'm having button lag.
With all of my might, my heart burns with pride.
But yeah, you could battle. Like, I like gameplay, but the only reason I don't battle as much as I do is because I feel like if I'm doing the same maps over and over again, it really just feels like I'm grinding on stream. And I don't really like grinding on stream because I like making progress on stream. I like streaming games to make progress. So like, I feel like if I'm just playing the same maps over and over again, I'm really just grinding. It really just feels like grinding at that point. So that's why I don't battle as much. But I do want some battles in the playthrough. I don't want every time to be like, oh, I don't battle, I just do this. And like, I don't just explore. I sometimes have battles involved. But for the most part, it's because I don't want to grind too much. Not even that I don't want to grind too much. Just I don't want to grind too much on... I don't know why I did that.
Be smart or I'm finished.
That was a mistake. She's probably gonna die. You know what? I know she's gonna die. I know she's gonna die. So why even bother? Get a crit, please. Oh, nice crit. Thank you, Leonie. I appreciate it. Yeah, for Gerald.
So reliable.
But yeah, you can do whatever you want with the monastery time. So this complaint is pretty,
Shall we?
pretty minimal. And another thing is, you could say like, oh, motivation and stats. By the time you get to part 2, you don't really need much, you're pretty much almost at master class already with most of your units. Unless you're managing a lot of units, which it's very hard to do.
Tolerate no obstacle.
But the thing is, like, you don't really need much stat increases, so that makes it like, oh, you don't really have to focus too much on stats, but there's nothing else to do, which is the only reason I get motivation up. I guess battling is like the... Why are my Joy-Cons acting up? I guess battling is the only ideal thing to do for most of the month in part 2, because battling is playing the game.
More fighting.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love the whole,
Will this ever end?
monastery bit, but battling is the real... That's the real seller. Like, that's what you're buying the game for. So, like, honestly, battling seems like the best option on, battling seems like the best option
Way forward.
for most people that think the monastery kind of drags in part 2. Just because, like, that's the reason you're buying the game. You're playing a game, you should like the gameplay. Or else, I mean, you could like the game and not like the gameplay, but that's kind of weird. I have to at least have some enjoyment of the gameplay to play a game. IMO. I'm gonna do this one because it's twice the reward. This is probably going to be the only time you battle this month. Just because there are no paralogs. Coming up on 2.5 hours. Not bad. I think we'll finish chapter 18's mission today. And I'll probably wrap up before starting 19, I think. It'll probably be really close to 4 hours by the time we get there. If I had to guess. Alright, same getup, except I don't want to use Lauren's. I want to use, Ash instead. I'm in an intermediate class? Alright, that's fine. What map is this again? Oh, this is a DLC map.
I'd be honored.
And I'm glad you'd be honored. This is a DLC map. This is pretty neat.
I will prevail.
This is the map they added for DLC.
I'll do my best.
I like it. Dude, DLC for this game Tinted Shadows was a neat addition. Everything else wasn't like a needed addition, but it was pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
Steady now.
It's pretty neat that they added other stuff.
No use.
Come at me. Yeah, be gone.
My heart burns with
Like, they didn't need to add the maps or the costumes, technically speaking, but it's pretty cool that they did. This game has a lot of content. I'm a big fan.
close one.
Let me paint you a picture. I wasn't about to let you go.
Or this game takes like 60 to 70 hours to complete. Yeah, it can. On a certain route. My first playthrough lasted like 74 hours, if I'm not mistaken. It really depends. If you're playing the game for the first time, you're looking at about 60 hours at least. I'm playing through a lot faster because I know what I'm doing, though. But yeah, it can last you like 60 to 70 hours. I am going faster just because I played the game before. How dare you?
Be smart or I'm finished.
There you go. Yeah, I can last you 60 to 70 hours. That's realistic. But you have like 4 routes to go through. So, thinking about it, if you want to do everything the game has to offer, you're looking at about, let's see, 60 to 70 times 4. You're looking at like a really large chunk of playtime. You're looking at like 240 hours at minimum on average if you're doing every single route. Actually, no, that's a lie because some routes are shorter than others. So doing every route will probably take you close to 200 hours, if not 200 hours. Do everything in the game, as in every single route. Maybe even like around a little over Persona 5 Royal. But then again, part 1 where everyone is exactly the same, so you might want to skip stuff during that. So I'd say the ideal playtime for this game, every single route, probably almost 200 hours. But not quite 200 hours. Because I know that one route is shorter than the other 3. The hidden route, that I don't want to talk about for spoiler reasons, is shorter than the other 3. I also know that part 1 is the same, so if I were playing this game again on my own time, I would probably just like go faster through part 1, because part 1 is exactly the same whatever route you choose. You don't choose your route until No, you choose your route in the beginning, but like part 1 is exactly the same. So it depends. But yeah, the game could be a long time. It's a really long game in that regard. It's a long game because of the 3 routes, the 4 routes mostly.
Battle of victory.
But even the base game, even just playing one route takes like a long time. Not a crazy long time. You could just really, select. I'm so mad. You could kind of like, you could be very selective with the difficulty is the thing. Can't really put a time on this game. You could be very selective. It depends how much monastery stuff you do. Depends how many battles you do. Depends how hard it is, like for you. Although it's not a very hard game. How many support conversations you see. There's a lot of different factors. So playtime's gonna vary for every player, I think. But my first playthrough was like 74 hours, if I remember correctly.
I'll do my best. Goddess, forgive me.
Oh, the goddess forgives you. Don't worry. I'm a big fan of this map, though.
Amazing.
It's pretty cool. Very unique.
Steady now. No mercy.
Fun to watch. Let's make this quick. It's done.
How would you rank this with other Fire Emblems? I don't really have much experience with the other FE games, so I can't really give you an answer on that, unfortunately. I played a little bit of I played like half of Awakening, never finished it. Played Fates, didn't like it. It was like it was like a quarter of Fates. I didn't like it. Played Path of Radiance.
Winning is what what matters.
I will say for sure, this game is far better than Path of Radiance.
when
Path
you
of
are.
Radiance isn't bad, but this game is much better. Just because it's a lot newer and has a lot of quality of life changes. Like, having the option to not have permadeath is neat. Because I am not the best at these games, and having permadeath and getting screwed over by a crit is nice. Divine Pulse is a really good change, so... Path of Radiance was a pretty good game, though. But this game is better. For sure. Oh my goodness, these guys are strong. You know what? Just retreat, honestly. This DLC map is very strong, and I'm not in the mood for it. But yeah, I don't have much Fire Emblem experience. I can't give you an answer. I could just compare this game to Path of Radiance, which is what I just did. Goodbye. I'm just not even gonna battle.
Thank you so much.
I'm pretty loaded on cash, got good ore. I don't need to.
I am grateful. I have gratitude.
My goodness, my throat.
Thanks so much.
My throat is killing me. I do not know why. I really hope this passes like in the next day or two. Oh, it's someone's birthday on the 18th. I wonder whose that is. I didn't even explore, so honestly, auto-instruct.
I work to grow. Professor.
Do whatever you want, honestly. I haven't used you in so long. I'm giving him flowers. I'm not doing a tea party for Raphael. Definitely not for Raphael. I would like to participate, thank you. Let's see, this is the the final free day, I think. So we're going to, not battle. We're gonna probably just, I'm probably just gonna seminar just to go through faster. Or depending on what rest does. Does it like raise motivation or something? I can't remember. My favorite game of all time is definitely Grandia. The first Grandia. Very good world building.
This should be suitable.
Yeah.
Very good, like, I guess exploration. It's got a lot of good world building. Got really good characters, amazing character development. Oh, motivation increases. You know what? I'm gonna rest. We haven't rested once in the playthrough. Oh, Sublime Creator Sword. Words. Sublime Creator Sword is repaired. I didn't know that. Definitely do this then. But anyway, as I was saying... Oh, wow. Resting is a lot more useful in part 2. I had no idea. As I was saying, Grandia 1 has the best world building I've seen in a video game. It's got, amazing characters, great character development. The story, like, from first sight, the story may seem very generic, but the way it does the story is really neat. I'm a big fan of how it's, like, world building, like, they kind of merge the storytelling into world building.
Thank you so much.
They merge the storytelling into world building. I might have to be quiet for this cutscene. I have a good way to say this, I just can't think right now.
Delivered our letter to Fort Merceus. I don't think they suspected anything.
I knew I was right to entrust that task to you. You've got that honest kind of face that makes it easy to fool people.
Is that meant to be a compliment?
I don't know.
What did you write in the letter?
I informed them that reinforcements were on the way. It would have been suspicious for troops to show up unannounced.
So, the plan is...
We'll disguise ourselves as reinforcements from the Imperial capital and sneak into Fort Merceus.
Oh, you used my disguise plan after all.
Of course, you're best girl after all.
We've also procured Imperial Army uniforms.
Ooh, good work. I knew this was the only way.
However, that alone wouldn't be enough.
You did say the plan needed a little more refinement. Are you going to dress up like Edelgard, Claude?
Yes, do it. Cloud Strife did it in FF7 and FF7R. You have to do it now. There's no escape.
I'm not sure that would accomplish much.
It would accomplish a lot.
In the
It'd be
letter,
hilarious.
I included the name of the Imperial General leading the reinforcements. While we're heading to the fort, a separate army is going to attack us.
We're going to be attacked?
That's all just for show, though. It'll be our allies who are attacking us.
Oh, I get it. We're going to make it look like the Alliance is attacking Imperial reinforcements.
Right. When the troops in the fortress panic and open up the gates, we're in.
I'd love nothing more than for this plan to work, but I've got some bad news for you. Apparently, the notorious Death Knight has been placed in charge of defending Fort Merceus.
The one who kidnapped Flame.
The Death Knight. I did not wish to ever think of him again.
He got some acclaim in the battle to subjugate Western Fargus. They say he holds the most military prowess in the Empire.
Even so, we've got Teach here to command us. All will be well. You have to trust us.
So your big plan is to just trust your professor? Really, boy?
Under the Professor's guidance, I'm sure we'll manage somehow. We're counting on the tactics you learned from Captain Gerald.
Prepare yourselves, everyone. It's time.
It is time, but it's not the end.
This is for your ears only, but there's actually one more part to my plan. I had hoped it wouldn't come to this, but I have no choice.
I'm a little worried now. No choice.
Absolutely. We can't afford to hold anything back. Thanks to Edelgard's strength, the Imperial army is more unified than I would have expected. It was a painful realization, but after our battle at Gronder Field, it's clear that we can't win if we don't pull out all the stops. I also realized something else during that battle. There really is something special about you, Teach. The reason we were all able to keep our cool in the midst of the chaos was because we all trust in you, in your command and in your strength. Everyone here believes that we will win as long as we have you on our side. Our faith in you is borderline religious. You and I, we have what it takes to free Fodlan from the Empire's rule. I know in my heart that we'll make it through to witness the world after all the fighting has ceased.